Olivia Clark stood at attention as the transport ship docked at the Galactic Federation Academy. Her heart pounded against her ribs, but her face remained calm. She was the only human in this intake of recruits. The artificial gravity felt too. Light under her feet, a constant reminder that she was far from Earth. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms approached her. "Recruit Clark from Earth, Deathworld 7, he said, checking a holographic display. "Follow me to processing." Olivia nodded and grabbed her single bag. The other recruits gave her a wide berth as she walked through the docking bay. She had grown. Used to the stairs during the journey from Earth, humans were new to the Federation, and their planet's classification made others nervous. "Is it true that your world has animals that can kill with a single bite?" asked a small, furry recruit, who scurried alongside her. "Yes," Olivia replied. "We call them snakes. Some spiders, too." The furry alien's eyes widened, and it fell back, putting distance between them. Olivia sighed. This was going to be a long 3 years of training. Processing took hours. Olivia received vaccinations, underwent scans, and filled out countless forms. The medical officer, a tall insectoid being, seemed fascinated by her physiology. "Remarkable bone density," the officer chittered. "And your muscle mass is substantial for your frame. Typical of Deathworlders, I suppose." Olivia remained silent. She had been briefed about this before leaving Earth. Humans were considered unusually durable compared to most Federation species. Earth's higher gravity, atmospheric composition, and dangerous wildlife had shaped humans into what the Federation considered unusually resilient beings. "You will need to be careful," the medical officer continued. "Your strength exceeds safety parameters for several training exercises. Commander Grell has been notified to make adjustments to your program." After processing, Olivia was led to her quarters in Dormitory Block C. The room was small but private, another accommodation for her Deathworlder status. Most recruits shared communal sleeping areas with their squad mates. Olivia's room had been modified with stronger furniture and Earth-standard gravity settings. She had barely set down her bag when a chime indicated someone at her door. She opened it to find a tall, stern-faced alien with gray skin and ridged features. "Recruit Clark. I am Commander Grell, your squad supervisor." His voice was deep and gravelly. "Squad Delta briefing begins in 30 minutes in Hall 12. Do not be late." "Yes, sir," Olivia replied with a sharp nod. "And Clark," Grell added, his eyes narrowing, "I understand this is all new to you, but the safety of all recruits is my priority. Control yourself at all times. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear, sir." After Grell left, Olivia quickly changed into her recruit uniform. The synthetic fabric felt strange against her skin, but it fit well enough. She studied her reflection in the mirror. Her brown hair was pulled back in a regulation bun. Her green eyes looked tired after the long journey, but her posture remained perfect. 3 years of military training on Earth, before being selected for the Federation program, had ingrained discipline into her. Hall 12 was a large, circular room with tiered seating. Olivia found her assigned place and sat down, conscious of the empty seats beside her. Other recruits filtered in, filling the hall with a cacophony of different languages, all automatically translated by the small device in her ear. 4 aliens approached her row, but hesitated when they saw her. One of them, a tall, willowy being with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer with bioluminescence, stepped forward. "You are the human, yes? From Earth?" Its voice was melodic, almost musical. "Yes, Olivia Clark. I am Zalti, from Aquarius Prime." The alien sat down beside her, moving with fluid grace. "These are our squad mates." The others reluctantly took their seats. One had scales and a lizard-like appearance. Another resembled a humanoid feline. and the last was short with rocky, textured skin. "I am Srel," said the lizard-like recruit. "Kira," said the feline, her tail swishing nervously. "Brock," grunted. "The rocky one." Olivia nodded to each in turn. "Nice to meet you all. Is it true that humans drink poison for enjoyment?" Srel asked, leaning forward with interest. "You mean alcohol?" "It's not exactly poison, but yes, some of us drink it," Olivia explained. "And you eat the flesh of other animals?" Kira's fur bristled slightly. "Yes, though I heard the mess hall here serves synthesized protein for everyone." Their conversation was cut short as Commander Grell entered the hall, flanked by several other instructors. The room fell silent immediately. "Welcome to the Galactic Federation Academy," Grell began. "You have been selected from thousands of applicants across the Federation. Over the next 3 years, you will train to become officers in the Federation Defense Force. Many of you will fail. Some of you may not survive." A murmur ran through the crowd. Olivia remained still, her face neutral. "You have been assigned to squads based on complementary abilities and psychological profiles. These people will be your family for the duration of your training. Learn to work together or wash out together." The briefing continued with explanations of rules, schedules, and expectations. Olivia listened attentively, making mental notes of important details. Physical training would begin tomorrow, followed by tactical studies and xenobiology classes. After the briefing, Squad Delta was given a tour of the training facilities by a senior cadet. The gymnasium was enormous, with equipment designed for dozens of different physiologies. A combat arena featured adjustable gravity and terrain. The simulation chambers could recreate environments from thousands of worlds. "The human will excel in physical training," Srel commented as they viewed the obstacle course. "Deathworlders always do." "We'll see," Olivia replied evenly. That evening in the mess hall, Olivia sat with her squad. Other recruits cast curious glances their way. She could hear whispers about the Deathworlder as she ate her meal of synthesized protein and vegetables. "You should ignore them," Zalti said softly. "Many have never met a human before." "I'm used to it," Olivia replied. A group of recruits from another squad passed by their table. One of them, a tall, muscular being with reddish skin and 4 eyes, deliberately bumped into Olivia's chair. "Watch where you put your chair, Deathworlder," he sneered. Olivia took a deep breath and said nothing. The alien seemed disappointed by her lack of reaction and moved on. "That was Drax Zorn," Kira whispered. "Centaurian. They think they're better than everyone else because their civilization joined the Federation centuries ago. Physical provocations are common in the first weeks," Brock explained in his gravelly voice. "They test boundaries. On Earth, that would be considered assault," Olivia said. "Here, it is just culture," Zalti replied. "Different species have different concepts of personal space." Olivia nodded, filing away this information. She would need to adjust her expectations and reactions. That night, alone in her quarters, Olivia sent a message home to her family. She described the academy, her squad mates, and the strangeness of being surrounded by aliens. She omitted the challenges and the way others looked at her with fear or curiosity. As she prepared for bed, she received a message from Commander Grell. "Recruit Clark, report to my office at 0600 hours for additional briefing regarding Deathworld protocols." Olivia sighed. She was a curiosity here, an anomaly, a potential danger. Earth's high gravity, predators, and harsh conditions had shaped humans into something the Federation species found both fascinating and frightening. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was determined to succeed. Humanity needed representatives in the Federation forces. She would prove that humans could integrate without incident, that they were more than just strong backs and quick reflexes. As the lights dimmed automatically, Olivia closed her eyes. The strange sounds at the academy at night surrounded her. The hum of life support systems, the occasional calls of non-humanoid recruits, the subtle vibration of the artificial gravity generators. She was far from home, but she was where she needed to be. She would adapt. After all, that's what humans did best. 3 months passed at the Galactic Federation Academy. Olivia had settled into a routine that consisted of physical training in the mornings, tactical studies in the afternoons, and xenobiology classes in the evenings. She had learned to hold back during physical exercises, using only a fraction of her Earth-born strength. Commander Grell had made it clear that her performance metrics would be adjusted to account for her Deathworlder physiology. Most of her squad mates had grown comfortable around her. Zalti had become a true friend, often sitting with Olivia during meals and study sessions. Kira and Srel were polite, but maintained a cautious distance. Brock seemed indifferent to her species, judging her solely on her performance during training. Exercises. Olivia stood in the locker room, preparing for today's combat training. She secured her hair tightly and checked her lightweight training armor. The material was designed to absorb impacts while allowing full range of motion. Today's exercise would involve close-quarters combat with minimal protection. Nervous, human? Kira asked as she adjusted her own armor. No more than usual, Olivia replied. She had learned to keep her answers short and simple. Zalti moved closer, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with gentle blue light. Drill Sergeant Krav is supervising today. He pairs recruits randomly for sparring. Olivia nodded. She had met Drill Sergeant Krav before. He was a gruff, six-limbed veteran with a reputation for being tough but fair. His species valued physical prowess, which meant he pushed the recruits harder than other instructors. I hope I'm not paired with you, Kira said with a nervous flick of her tail. No offense. None taken, Olivia assured her. Even with her restraint protocols, she was still stronger than most recruits in her class. The squad made their way to the combat arena. Other recruits were already gathered, stretching and preparing for the exercise. Olivia noticed Drax Zorn standing with his group of friends, his 4 eyes scanning the room with an air of superiority. Over the past months, he had made several comments about humans being primitive and unworthy of Federation membership. Olivia had ignored him, following Commander Grell's advice to avoid confrontation. Drill Sergeant Krav entered the arena, his heavy footsteps echoing against the metal floor. Attention, recruits, he barked. The room fell silent immediately. Today's exercise will test your adaptability in close-quarters combat. You will be paired with a partner from a different squad to simulate real-world scenarios where you may fight alongside unfamiliar allies. Krav consulted his datapad. When I call your names, step forward and take position on the training mats. Olivia listened as Krav called out pairs of names. Zalti was paired with a slender avian recruit. Kira found herself facing a recruit with translucent skin. Brock was matched with a tall, plant-like being. Clark, Olivia, Krav announced. You will spar with Zorn, Drax. Olivia's stomach tightened. Of all the recruits in the academy, Drax was the one she least wanted to face. She stepped forward, keeping her expression neutral as she made her way to the assigned mat. Drax moved to his position, a smirk on his face. Looks like I get to put the Deathworlder in her place, he said loud enough for his friends to hear. They laughed, casting glances at Olivia. Quiet, Zorn, Krav snapped. This is a training exercise, not a personal vendetta. Olivia took her position on the mat, facing Drax. She ran through her restraint protocols in her mind, reminding herself to use only 20% of her strength, to move at reduced speed, to pull her strikes before full impact. The objective is simple, Krav explained to the whole class. Subdue your opponent without causing injury. Points are awarded for technique, control, and adaptability. Begin on my signal. Olivia centered herself, taking deep breaths as she had been taught. She would let Drax make the first move, then respond defensively. It was the safest approach when sparring with non-humans. Begin! Krav shouted. Drax circled Olivia slowly, his 4 eyes never leaving her face. She mirrored his movements, maintaining the distance between them. Around them, other pairs had already engaged, the sounds of combat filling the arena. I've been waiting for this, human, Drax said quietly. Let's see how tough you really are. He lunged forward, faster than Olivia expected. She sidestepped his attack, careful not to move too quickly. Drax recovered and struck again, aiming for her midsection. Olivia blocked the blow with her forearm. Absorbing the impact, they exchanged a series of strikes and blocks, each testing the other's defenses. Olivia was careful to hold back, her movements deliberate and controlled. Drax, however, seemed to be putting more force behind his attacks than necessary for a training exercise. Is that all you've got, Deathworld? Drax taunted as they circled each other again. I thought humans were supposed to be dangerous. Olivia remained focused, ignoring his words. She saw an opening and executed a simple takedown, grabbing Drax's arm and using his momentum to pull him off balance. He stumbled but recovered quickly, anger flashing in all 4 of his eyes. Lucky move, he growled. The sparring continued, with Olivia maintaining her defensive stance. She could tell Drax was becoming frustrated by his inability to land a solid hit. His movements became more aggressive, his strikes less controlled. Drill Sergeant Krav moved between the mats, observing each pair and offering corrections. Control your emotions, Zorn, he called out as he passed their mat. This is about technique, not strength. Drax nodded, but Olivia could see the tension in his body. He was not used to being challenged, especially by a recruit from a newly admitted species. They reset their positions after Krav moved on. Olivia noticed Drax glancing at his friends, who were watching the match with interest. Something in his posture changed, a subtle shift that put Olivia on alert. The next sequence began like the others, with Drax attacking and Olivia defending. But as they moved across the mat, Drax suddenly feinted left, then circled behind her, faster than regulation sparring allowed. Before Olivia could fully turn, she felt a sharp, deliberate strike to her kidney area, much harder than the exercise parameters permitted. Pain shot through Olivia's body, a sudden intense shock that triggered something deep and primal within her. In that split second, 3 years of Earth military training and millions of years of human evolution on a dangerous world took over. Her body reacted before her conscious mind could intervene. It was pure reflex, the kind that had kept humans alive on Earth for countless generations. Her hand shot out, grabbing Drax by the throat. In one fluid motion, she twisted and applied pressure at precisely the right point. There was a sickening crack that echoed through the suddenly silent arena. Drax's body went limp instantly. He collapsed to the mat, his 4 eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. Olivia stood frozen, her hand still outstretched, horror dawning on her face as she realized what had happened. The entire combat arena had gone completely still. Every recruit, every instructor stared at the scene in shock. Drill Sergeant Krav was the first to move, rushing to the mat and kneeling beside Drax's motionless form. Medical emergency in Combat Arena 3, he shouted into his communicator. Recruit down. Repeat, recruit down. Olivia took a step back, her hands trembling. I didn't mean to, she whispered. It was instinct. He hit me from behind, and I just reacted. Zalti pushed through the crowd, reaching Olivia's side. What happened? Olivia, what happened? But Olivia couldn't answer. She watched as medical personnel rushed into the arena, surrounding Drax. They worked quickly, using advanced equipment to scan and treat him. But after several tense minutes, the lead medical officer looked up and shook his head. "Time of death, 10:43 hours, the officer announced quietly. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Olivia felt the room spin around her. This couldn't be happening. It was just a training exercise. She had been careful, had followed all the protocols. "Recruit Clark," Commander Grell's voice cut through her thoughts. He had arrived with security. "Personnel, you are hereby detained pending investigation into the death of Recruit Zorn. Surrender yourself immediately." Olivia looked at the faces around her. Shock, fear, horror. Even Zalti had taken a step away. She slowly raised her hands and allowed the security officers to place restraints on her wrists as they led her away. Olivia caught one last glimpse of Drax's body being covered with a sheet. In just seconds, her future at the Academy, humanity's place in the Federation, and her own freedom had all been jeopardized by instincts she couldn't control. Olivia sat on the hard bunk in her detention cell, staring at the blank wall across from her. The cell was small but clean, with basic amenities designed for human physiology. The gravity had been set to Earth standard, a small mercy that did little to comfort her. 5 days had passed since the incident in the training arena. 5 days of isolation and uncertainty. The security field at the entrance to her cell hummed softly, a constant reminder of her confinement. Beyond it, too, armed guards stood at attention. They never spoke to her, never looked directly at her. To them, she was not just a prisoner, but something dangerous. Unpredictable. The field flickered and changed color, indicating someone was about to enter. Olivia straightened her posture, but remained seated as Commander Grell stepped into the cell. His expression was as unreadable as ever. "Recruit Clark," he said, standing just inside the doorway. "The investigation into Recruit Zorn's death is ongoing. I've come to inform you of the current situation." Olivia nodded, keeping her voice steady. "Thank you, sir." A training arena's surveillance systems captured the entire incident. The footage has been reviewed by Federation Security and the Academy Board. Grell paused, his eyes studying her face. "It clearly shows Zorn striking you from behind with excessive force, outside the parameters of the training exercise." A small flicker of hope rose in Olivia's chest. "Then they can see it was self-defense? An instinctive reaction?" "It's not that simple," Grell replied. "The force and speed of your response has raised concerns. Many on the board are questioning whether humans can be safely integrated into the Federation Defense Force at all." The hope died as quickly as it had appeared. Olivia had feared this would happen. One incident, one moment of uncontrolled reflex, and all of humanity might pay the price. "Dr. Alan Pierce has arrived from Earth," Grell continued. "As our leading xenobiologist, he will testify about human physiology and the evolutionary adaptations that led to your response." "Dr. Pierce?" Olivia knew the name. He had been part of the team that prepared the first humans for Federation integration. "Will I be allowed to speak with him?" "He has requested a meeting with you." "Yes, it has been approved." Grell moved closer, lowering his voice slightly. "Clark, I want you to understand the gravity of this situation. This is not just about you or Recruit Zorn. The outcome of this investigation will impact Earth's standing in the Federation. There are those who already argue that Deathworlders are too dangerous to coexist with other species." Olivia felt the weight of his words. She represented all of humanity now, for better or worse. "I understand, sir." Grell nodded once. "Dr. Pierce will see you this afternoon. Tomorrow, Federation intelligence will conduct their own interview. Answer all questions truthfully." He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Clark, the drill instructors have reviewed the footage. Sergeant Krav has filed a statement confirming that Zorn's strike was deliberate and unprovoked. After Grell left, Olivia returned to her thoughts. She replayed the incident in her mind for the 100th time. The sparring match, Drax's growing frustration, the sudden pain of his strike, and then nothing but instinct. She hadn't made a conscious decision to grab him, to apply that precise twist. Her body had reacted automatically with deadly efficiency. Hours later, the security field flickered again. A middle-aged human man with graying hair and kind eyes entered her cell. Dr. Alan Pierce carried a datapad and a small case. "Olivia Clark," he said warmly. "I wish we were meeting under better circumstances." "Dr. Pierce," she replied, standing. To greet him. The sight of another human after days surrounded by aliens brought unexpected comfort. "Please, sit," he gestured to the bunk. "I've reviewed the incident footage and your file. I'm here to help explain to the Federation officials why what happened was not your fault. Can you?" Olivia asked. "I killed someone, Dr. Pierce. Accident. Or not. Drax Zorn is dead because of me." Pierce set his case on the small table and opened it, revealing medical equipment. "I'd like to run some tests while we talk, if that's all right. Standard stress response measurements." Olivia nodded her consent, and Pierce attached small sensors to her temples and wrist. "Earth is classified as a Deathworld 7 for good reason." Pierce began as he worked. "Our gravity is higher than most inhabited planets. Our atmosphere contains oxygen levels that would be toxic to many species. Our wildlife includes predators that have shaped human evolution for millions of years." "I know all this," Olivia said. "It was part of our briefing before joining the Academy." "Yes, but what the Federation doesn't fully understand is how deeply. These factors are embedded in human physiology." Pierce activated his equipment, which began recording her vital signs. "When Zorn struck you from behind, do you remember making a conscious decision to respond?" Olivia shook her head. "No, it just happened. By the time I realized what I was doing, it was already done." "Exactly," Pierce nodded. "Humans evolved on a planet where a predator attacking from behind often meant death. Those who developed the fastest reflexes survived to pass on their genes. What happened in that training arena was the result of millions of years of evolutionary pressure." He showed her the readings on his datapad. "Your brain activity during the incident shows the response bypassed your frontal cortex entirely. The threat was processed by your amygdala and triggered an automatic motor response through your cerebellum. In simple terms, your body reacted before your conscious mind could intervene." "Will that matter to the Federation?" Olivia asked. "It should," Pierce replied. "There are precedents. Several Federation species possess deadly defensive mechanisms that activate automatically when threatened. The Thruskin release toxic spores when startled. Montavian tentacles will constrict around anything that grabs them suddenly. These species aren't banned from the Federation." A chime from the security field interrupted them. A small drone entered, carrying a datapad that it deposited on the table before leaving. "What's that?" Olivia asked. Pierce picked it up and read the screen. "Interesting. It seems your friend Zalti has been busy. According to this, she has organized several academy recruits to provide testimony about Drax Zorn's behavior. Apparently, you weren't his first target. He had a history of aggressive actions toward recruits from newly admitted species." For the first time in days, Olivia felt a glimmer of real hope. "There's more," Pierce continued reading. "Federation. Intelligence has expressed interest in the incident, specifically in human reflexes and physical capabilities. They've requested access to Earth's military training protocols." "What does that mean?" "It means, Olivia, that while some in the Federation fear what happened, Others see potential value. Pierce's expression became serious. Earth's admission to the Federation was not just about cultural exchange. Every new species brings unique abilities to the collective. Humans might be seen as dangerous, but that danger could be useful to certain divisions within the Federation. Olivia absorbed this information. So even if I'm cleared, they'll want to study us? Use humans as what? Soldiers? Weapons? That's politics beyond my expertise, Pierce admitted. My job is to provide scientific context for what happened. 2. Show that you didn't murder Zorn, that your body responded to a threat in the only way it evolutionarily could. He packed up his equipment. The Federation High Council has called a special hearing for tomorrow. I'll be testifying along with Commander Grell, Sergeant Krav, and several others. You'll be brought before the council to give your own account. And if they rule against me? Olivia asked quietly. Pierce hesitated before answering. Then it won't just be you who suffers the consequences. Earth's status in the Federation could be downgraded, human integration programs suspended. In the worst case, we could face restrictions on interstellar travel. After Pierce left, Olivia returned to her bunk. The fate of human Federation relations now rested partly on her shoulders. Tomorrow, she would face the High Council and try to explain something that she herself barely understood, the instincts and reflexes that made humans both survivors and killers. That night, sleep eluded her. When she finally drifted off, her dreams were filled with the sound of Drax Zorn's neck snapping and the faces of her fellow recruits, staring at her in horror and fear. The High Council chamber was a vast circular room with tiered seating that rose up like a giant bowl. Olivia stood in the center on a small platform, feeling exposed under the gaze of dozens of Federation officials. She wore a simple gray uniform, provided for the hearing, with no rank or academy insignia. The gravity in the chamber had been set to a standard that accommodated most species, making Olivia feel slightly lighter than normal. 7 council members sat at the highest tier, each representing a major Federation power. They wore formal robes with colors and symbols of their respective worlds. Below them sat various officials, advisors, and witnesses. Olivia recognized Commander Grell, Dr. Pierce, and Sergeant Krav among them. To her surprise, Zalti was also present, sitting with several other Academy recruits. A tall, elegant alien with silver skin and elongated features stood before the council. The hearing regarding Incident 2947B, the death of recruit Drax Zorn of Centauri Prime, will now commence, she announced in a clear voice that carried throughout the chamber. I am Chief Arbiter Elara, and I will oversee these proceedings. Olivia stood straight, hands clasped behind her, back in the military posture she had been taught on Earth. Her heart pounded, but her face remained calm. Recruit Olivia Clark of Earth, Arbiter Elara addressed her directly. You stand before this council, accused of causing the death of a fellow recruit during a training exercise. How do you respond to this accusation? Olivia had been coached by Dr. Pierce on how to answer. I acknowledge that my actions resulted in Recruit Zorn's death, she said clearly. I maintain that these actions were an involuntary defensive response to an unprovoked attack. A murmur ran through the chamber. One of the council members, a bulky being with a ridge of horns running down his head, leaned forward. An involuntary response that resulted in a precisely executed lethal maneuver? That strains credibility. Recruit Clark. Ambassador Scott, Earth's representative to the Federation, rose from his seat. He was a tall man with dark skin and a commanding presence. If it pleases the Council, we have brought expert testimony to explain the nature of human defensive reflexes. The Council chairperson, a being of indeterminate gender with pale blue skin, nodded. The Council recognizes Ambassador Scott of Earth. You may present your case. Scott stepped to the center of the chamber, standing beside Olivia. Honored Consul, what happened in that training arena was tragic but predictable. When Federation officials classified Earth as a Deathworld 7, they recognized the harsh conditions that shaped human evolution. What they failed to fully understand were the neurological and physiological adaptations that allowed humans to survive those conditions. He gestured to Dr. Pierce, who rose and joined them. Pierce carried his datapad and a small projector. With the Council's permission, I would like to present evidence regarding human physiology and threat response systems. The chairperson nodded, and Pierce activated his projector. A three-dimensional image of a human brain appeared in the air above them. Human brains developed multiple pathways for processing threats, Pierce explained. When Recruit Zorn struck Recruit Clark from behind, the stimulus bypassed normal cognitive processing. The projection highlighted different areas of the brain as he spoke. This is not unique to humans. Many species have autonomous defensive reactions. What is unique is the speed and precision of the human response, developed over millions of years on a planet where predators could kill in seconds. The council members watched with varying expressions of interest or skepticism. Pierce continued, showing data from the sensors he had attached to Olivia during their meeting. These readings confirmed that Recruit Clark's conscious mind had no time to prevent the defensive action. By the time her frontal cortex registered what was happening, her body had already responded to the perceived threat. The horned council member spoke again. This only confirms what many have feared, that humans are dangerous and unpredictable. If they cannot control these reflexes, how can they safely integrate with other species? Ambassador Scott responded smoothly. Council Member Vrax, the Federation already includes species with autonomous defense mechanisms. The Threskin release toxic spores when startled. The Montavians have constricting tentacles that react to sudden contact. We have developed protocols for safe interaction with these species. But those species disclose these mechanisms upon joining the Federation, Vrax countered. The extent of human reflexes was not made clear during Earth's admission process, because we ourselves did not fully understand them in the context of interspecies interaction, Scott replied. On Earth, humans interact primarily with other humans who possess similar reflexes and understand the social contexts that might trigger them. This incident has been educational for us as well. Arbiter Elara stepped forward. We will now hear from those who witnessed the incident. Commander Grell, please approach. Grell stepped to the center of the chamber. His testimony was concise and factual, describing Olivia's behavior during her 3 months at the Academy. Recruit Clark has consistently followed restraint protocols during all training exercises. She has shown no previous signs of aggression or violence. Sergeant Krav followed, confirming that Drax's strike had been outside the parameters of the training exercise. It was a deliberate attack, not a training move. The force used was excessive, and the targeting of a vulnerable area was against regulations. Next came a surprise witness, a Centaurian cadet who had been Drax's roommate. Drax spoke of teaching the human a lesson, he admitted reluctantly. He believed humans were given too much respect for a newly admitted species. He said he would show everyone how weak they really were. Zalti was the final witness. She approached, the platform with fluid grace, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with nervous light. Drax Zorn had a history of targeting recruits from newer Federation worlds, she said. 3 cycles ago, he injured a Proximan recruit during a similar exercise. The incident was reported, but dismissed as a training accident. 2 other recruits corroborated Zalti's testimony, describing incidents where Drax had used excessive force or made threatening comments toward non-Centaurian cadets. After all testimony was complete, Olivia was given a chance to speak. She stepped forward, looking directly at the council members. I came to the Academy to serve the Federation and to represent Earth, I followed every protocol, restrained my strength during all exercises, and tried to integrate with my fellow recruits. What happened with Drax Zorn was not intended. I never wanted anyone to be hurt. She paused, gathering her thoughts. If I am judged solely on the outcome of that moment, then I accept whatever punishment the Council deems appropriate. But if my actions are viewed in context, as an instinctive response to an unprovoked attack, then I ask you to consider what this means, not just for me, but for human integration into the Federation. The Council members conferred among themselves in low voices. Finally, the chairperson addressed the chamber. This case presents complex questions about biology, intent, and responsibility. The Council will recess to consider all testimony. We will reconvene in one standard cycle to deliver our ruling. As Olivia was led from the chamber, she caught Zalti's eye. Her friend gave her a small gesture that Olivia recognized as the aquatic equivalent of a thumbs up. It was a tiny comfort in the face of such uncertainty. Back in her detention cell, Olivia tried to rest, but sleep wouldn't come. Too much hung in the balance. Her future, possibly the future of all humans in the Federation. Ambassador Scott visited briefly, assuring her that he would continue to advocate on her behalf. The testimony was compelling, he told her, especially from the Centaurian cadet and your friend Zalti. It establishes a pattern of behavior on Zorn's part that puts your reaction in context. Do you think it will be enough? Olivia asked. Scott's expression was guarded. The Council is divided. Some see this as an opportunity to reconsider human integration entirely. Others recognize the value humans bring to the Federation. There's also interest from Federation intelligence in human capabilities. So even if I'm cleared, we become what weapons for the Federation? That's a political battle for another day, Scott replied. For now, let's focus on the immediate issue. When he left, Olivia paced her small cell. Whatever the Council decided, nothing would bring Drax back. A life had ended because of her reflexes, instincts she couldn't control. Even if she was found not responsible, she would carry that knowledge forever. The next morning, security officers came to escort her back to the Council chamber. The room was even more crowded than before, with additional officials and observers present. News of the hearing had spread throughout the Federation. The case had become a focal point for debates about Deathworlders and their place in Galactic. Society.Olivia took her position in the center of the chamber, standing tall despite her exhaustion. As 7 Council members filed in, their faces unreadable. Whatever they had decided would shape not just her fate, but potentially the relationship between Earth and the rest of the galaxy for years to come. A Council chamber fell silent as the 7 members took their seats. Olivia stood in the center, her back straight and her face composed despite the turmoil inside her. The past 24 hours had been the longest of her life. Now, finally, she would learn her fate. The chairperson, with their pale blue skin and serene expression, rose to address the assembly. After careful consideration of all testimony and evidence presented, this council has reached a decision regarding Incident 2947B and the role of Recruit Olivia Clark in the death of Recruit Drax Zorn. Olivia felt her heart pounding against her ribs, but maintained her composure. Whatever happened next would change the course of her life. This case has forced us to examine fundamental questions about biological imperatives, intent, and responsibility, the chairperson continued. When different species interact, we must account for evolutionary adaptations that may lead to unintended consequences. The chairperson activated a display showing the training arena footage. The images played in slow motion, Drax circling. Behind Olivia, the sudden strike to her kidney, her instantaneous reaction, and the fatal outcome. The evidence clearly shows that Recruit Zorn delivered a strike that violated Academy training protocols. The force and targeting of his attack constituted a genuine threat that triggered Recruit Clark's defensive reflexes. These reflexes, as Dr. Pierce has demonstrated, operate outside conscious control. Olivia dared to feel a glimmer of hope. The chairperson continued, "Therefore, it is the ruling of this council that Recruit Olivia Clark bears no criminal responsibility for the death of Recruit Drax Zorn. The incident is classified as an involuntary defensive response to an unprovoked attack." A murmur ran through the chamber. Olivia caught Ambassador Scott's eye, and he gave her a small nod of approval. She allowed herself a moment of relief before the chairperson spoke again. However, this incident highlights a significant oversight in the integration of Deathworld species into the Federation. Effective immediately, the Council is implementing new protocols for the training and integration of humans and other Deathworld species. The display changed to show a list of new regulations. The chairperson read them aloud. All Academy instructors will receive specialized training on Deathworlder physiology and reflexes. Combat training involving Deathworlders will include additional safety measures. Warning labels will be added to personnel files of all Deathworld species, indicating specific precautions for interaction. Council member Vrax, the horned representative who had been most skeptical during the hearing, added his voice. "Let it be clearly understood that while Recruit Clark is not held criminally responsible, the potential danger posed by uncontrolled human reflexes cannot be ignored. These new protocols are not punitive, but necessary for the safety of all Federation citizens." Ambassador Scott stood to address the Council. Earth accepts these protocols and will work with Federation officials to ensure safe integration. We propose establishing a joint committee to develop training programs that will help humans better control their reflexes in interspecies settings. The chairperson nodded. "Your proposal is accepted, Ambassador. This committee will begin work immediately." Turning back to Olivia, the chairperson's tone softened slightly. "Recruit Clark, you are hereby released from detention and reinstated at the Academy. However, you will be required to undergo additional training in reflex control before resuming regular classes." "Do you accept these terms?" Olivia nodded. "I do, Chairperson." "Thank you." As the formal proceedings concluded, Olivia was approached by Commander Grell. "Report to my office tomorrow at 08:00 hours," he said. "We have much to discuss regarding your continued training." Zalti hurried over, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with bright blues and greens that Olivia had learned indicated happiness. "I knew they would see reason," she said. "Your squad has been worried about you." "Thank you for testifying," Olivia replied. "It made a difference." Before Zalti could respond, a Federation security officer approached them. "Recruit Clark, you have a visitor waiting in briefing room 7. Please follow me." Curious, Olivia followed the officer through the corridors of the Federation complex. When the door to briefing room 7 slid open, she was surprised to see a stern-looking woman in a black uniform she didn't recognize. "Recruit Clark," the woman said, gesturing for Olivia. "To sit. I am Captain Lara Keene, Federation Intelligence Special Operations Division. Please, have a seat." Olivia sat cautiously. "Special Operations? I don't understand." "The incident in the training arena caught our attention," Keene explained. "The speed and precision of your reflexes are remarkable, even for a human from Earth." "I'm not sure I like where this is going," Olivia said. Keene smiled slightly. "The Federation faces threats that most citizens never hear about. Pirate cartels, separatist movements, even hostile powers beyond our borders. We need operatives with unique capabilities." "You want to recruit me? Because I accidentally killed someone?" "No," Keene corrected. "Because you demonstrated abilities that could be valuable in the right context. Your reflexes aren't a liability, Recruit Clark. They're an asset, if properly channeled." Olivia considered this. "What exactly are you proposing?" complete your academy training, graduate with your class. Then, if you're interested, there would be a place for you in special operations. We're forming a new unit specifically for Deathworld operatives. The offer was both flattering and disturbing. I came here to represent Earth, to show that humans could integrate with other species. And you still will, Keen assured her. But the reality is that humans have capabilities that most Federation species lack. Why not use those capabilities to protect the Federation? I'll consider it, Olivia said noncommittally. That's all I ask. Keen handed her a small data chip, my contact information. Think about it. 6 months later, Olivia stood at attention, with her graduating class in the Academy's Grand Hall. She wore the same uniform as her fellow graduates, but with a small addition, a red band around her left arm that identified her as a Deathworlder subject to special protocols. All humans at the Academy now wore these bands. It was one of many changes implemented after what had become known as the Clark Incident. Commander Grell moved down the line, presenting each graduate with their assignment orders. When he reached Olivia, he paused. "Recruit Clark," he said, handing her a sealed data chip. "Your performance these past months has been exemplary. The restraint protocols you developed have been implemented Academy-wide for all Deathworlder cadets." "Thank you, sir," Olivia replied. "Your new assignment," he continued, lowering his voice. "Not what I expected for you, but perhaps fitting." After the ceremony, Olivia found a quiet spot to review her orders. The data chip contained her assignment, Human-Alien Liaison Officer, specializing in Deathworlder integration protocols. She would be teaching other species about humans and teaching humans how to safely interact with other species. It was an important role, one that could help prevent incidents like the one with Drax. There was a second file on the chip, a personal message from Captain Keen. "The offer still stands when you're ready." Zalti found her a few minutes later. "Where are you assigned?" she asked excitedly. "Liaison Officer," Olivia replied. "I'll be helping develop integration protocols for humans and other Deathworlders." "That's perfect for you," Zalti said. "After everything that happened, who better to teach others?" Olivia smiled. "What about you?" "Science Division on the Exploration. Vessel Horizon. We leave next week." They walked together toward the reception hall where other graduates were celebrating with friends and family. As they entered, conversations paused briefly as people noticed Olivia. Some still kept their distance, but others nodded respectfully. The red band on her arm was both a warning and a badge of identity. On a large screen at the front of the hall, a training video was playing. New recruits watched footage of various species and their biological characteristics. Olivia was startled to see herself on the screen, or rather the incident with Drax, now used as a teaching example. "Warning: human reflexes operate at speeds exceeding most Federation species," the narrator explained. "Approach with caution and avoid sudden movements or unsignaled physical contact." Zalti noticed her watching. "You're famous now." Every new recruit learns about the human who snapped a Centaurian's neck. "Not exactly the legacy I was hoping for," Olivia said wryly. "Maybe not, but things are changing because of you. The new protocols protect everyone, humans and non-humans alike." Olivia knew that was true. In the 6 months since the incident, 3 other Deathworld species had been admitted to the Academy under the new protocols. Each had their own colored band, their own warnings, their own special training. Integration was happening, albeit carefully as the reception continued. Olivia spoke with instructors, fellow graduates, and even a few Federation officials curious about Earth. Most kept a careful distance, mindful of the red band on her arm. But they listened to what she had to say, asked questions about human culture and biology. This was her new role: bridge between worlds, representative of a species feared for its deadly capabilities, but respected for the same reason. Earth had earned its place in the Federation, not despite being a Deathworld, but because of it.